Now you've clicked on this video because you want to see one of the best natural bait combos there is for fishing, and that is with this stuff, hemp and corn. Now with the upcoming festival at Western pools where natural baits is only allowed, this is going to be one of the killer tactics, but not just on this, up and down the country fishing for carp, F1s, this is probably one of the most forgotten but awesome baits to use. So what I'm going to do is get down to the clay pit. I'm going to show you in this video how I go about fishing it, how you can get along, where you pot your bait, throw your bait, what size rigs you need, and we're going to catch some fish and I'm going to get on the box. So enough waffling, I'm going to get down there now and show you how to do it. Right, so jump on the box now. Now, where we're going to fish this and what I mean by is what deadly tactic. There's a natural baits festival, so there's no ground bait, no pellets. Now, one of the best baits here at Weston, even without fishing normal matches, can be hemp and corn. So we've got just a tin of hemp and a tin of corn, and then just adding little bits to your pole pot. We're going to feed it. We're going to feed it in probably like 5 foot. Now, the reason why I look to fish this depth is just it's an ideal depth for carp. Yes, you can get the fishing like 2 to 3 foot to even shallow with a ground bait, but with particles they sink quite heavy and you can find you can catch them a lot deeper. So the area I'm looking to target is just like a nice short line, just probably a top kitten one. So just put it about 5 foot. Now I haven't had a little plumb up so I know roughly, so just going to fish halfway down my number 4 section, got a short 3 in. So when I'm looking there, I'm looking for a nice slope, but a nice bit on the slope. So there's a big tree there. I can keep the bottom of the body, and if I come to here, it doesn't come up too sharpish. That's what you want to try and avoid, is the bottom coming up too sharp. You want a nice little area. So that's a nice little area in line with that second tree, just on the top 4 there. Now the really important thing is to have a few things with your rig. So I'll make sure I show you now. So you've got elastic wire 15 holler, just been using this for all my carp fishing at the minute, and it's a lovely elastic. You'll be able to catch anything from like F1s up to like big carp. 019 mainline, a couple of back shot in between there, but this is a really important thing. You don't want probably anything more than 6 inch there, just because your float can drift off the shelf and that's the last thing you want. Then I've got a brand new F1 XS, 4x16, so a nice little bit thicker tip on it, the 1.75 tip on that, but slim body as well, which I want. And then dead simple, I've just got a bulk and 2 down to a 6 inch hook length. I think it's size 14 XSH, so just a piece of corn. So how I'm going to go about it is literally slip the corn onto there, and I'm going to get a medium pot. Now I've got a lid on it at the minute, but I don't want to do that. I want to feed it in a heap, just because I'll take the lid off. Just because I feel I want to get all my bait down to the bottom. Like I know there's a few fish here because I can see some in the edge, so there's going to be a few fish. So what I'm going to do is probably half fillet of hemp, and same again with corn. Not too much corn because obviously I want a nice standout hook bait. Just unravel my rig. Always happens. There we go. Make sure everything's neat and tidy. Wrap around my pot. So the most important thing I want to do here when I get to this is make sure I've got a mark, I've got a piece of tape on my pole, and just flip my rig down the shelf. So down the shelf, lean forward slightly, drop my bait in, straight over the top, and drag it onto that shelf. Now what you might find is, because we are pleasure fishing today, you're going to get a quite quick response, to be honest. But that's why it's important. Say if you were throwing maggots there, for example, the fish would want to come off the bottom. That's a misbite. The fish would want to come off the bottom and just cause you a headache, or you're throwing casters there. It just gives them a chance. But with these bigger baits, these bigger particles, you sort of hemp and corn fishing, it can be really good. Now, it's not just down here that it can be dead effective, down the complex as well. Especially obviously on the Natural Baits Festival, you can't fish anything other than obviously natural baits, for example. So you can't fish your pellets, you can't fish your ground bait. So you've just got you're limited. You've probably got some casters or maggots, whichever you want to fish really, for your hide and your F1s and some carp. But then I'd be looking to have a line with hemp and corn and probably that. Now I know Ian Fellows, he does really well. That's a nice fish, that one. he just really, and I'm going to throw a few bits of corn around there. I'm not going to throw any hemp, I'm just going to throw a bit of corn. Now I know Ian Fellows, this is the problem with the clay pit, that's just going down. He catches a lot of fish on hemp, even not even normal matches, so I think it's an underused bait for carp fishing, to be honest. Now the hook length is, like I said, it's 0.17, size 14 XSH. Just because I want to keep everything under control. You can catch some big fish on this. And I feel like in that festival, where this is going now, in that festival this is going to be a proper sort of like last 90 minutes, 2 hours 90 minutes job, where if you can start to catch on this, that's where you can put a massive weight together. It's an ideal time, there's a lot of carp feeding at the minute. But even if you go up and down the country, it's probably like an unforgotten sort of combo of bait. So I just thought, why not? Why not? Come down on the evening. Nice simple setup, not much bait. Tin of corn, tin of hemp. Now personally I'd probably bring two tins of hemp, maybe two or three tins of hemp, probably 2 or 3 pints of hemp and then a tin of corn. You're not going to feed too much corn. That's what I'd probably be looking to do. You don't need to feed a lot of it. I remember years ago, especially when we used to come on Robbie Griffiths, he used to do so well catching, just feeding little bits of hemp, fishing a piece of corn, catching loads of carp on the complex. So it's like a sort of forgotten bait. It only gets really used when you come down, when it comes to the time of the Natural Baits Festival, obviously, because you are limited, but it's a proper scrapper. The old cliche of the bad bit of net in that one. This is the problem, that you can get your arm pulled off by carp. There you go, that's a lovely fish, that one. These are the proper ones you're going to catch on that. Look at that. Nice little mirror. Try and hold him up. Just try and hook that up. And that's what you want. You want nice balanced tackle, because obviously you can get everything in them. But look at that. That's a proper clay pit warrior. Nice mirror. Nearly fully scaled, actually. That's the beauty of it. You don't need to like lash loads of bait in and stuff. When the fish sort of come on that line, I feel like they're coming there to feed anyway. And it's just a nice little bait which pins them down to the bottom. It doesn't have to be here at the clay pit, like I said. You can just put 4 or 5 grains of corn, little pinch of hemp, so tiny amounts. If you see that in that pot there, it's only like not even full. That's a medium pot, that one. But just the key is just to get your little fundamentals right. You've, like, lean forward a little bit so your bait's on your mark. Make sure you got the right size rig on so you're not wasting time. Let me pull my elastic out, that one. Not wasting time with your rig straight to the bottom. You just want nice positive rigs. You've got a nice positive hook bait on corn, especially. One thing you do find, it does select like them bigger carp. So like I say, in them match scenarios, even on your pleasure sessions, if you're coming down, you just feel like you want to target a few carp and a nice cheap bit of bait. Especially, you don't have to get tinned hemp, you can do it yourself. Just boil it up, but I think it stinks if you do it. Oh. Foul that one. It's the problem, I probably need to come in a bit shallow water really, but that's the difference. When you pleasure fishing, they do obviously come a bit stupid. I mean, it is getting late evening now, so obviously it's going to be a lot more fish feeding now, especially because this is not match conditions and not match time. So this is where the area I'd look to fish in the match sort of thing, like just away from the bank, just in like 4 to 5 foot of water. Just, yeah, that's it. Throw a bit of corn in just to attract one. That's when you know that you're sort of like, you're on the right bait, is when you start getting positive indications in bites like that one. Just straight into another scrap. Ooh. clay pit carp. It's the right time of year to sort of try and target these carp now. They've come through the summer months, everything's cooling off a little bit. Look at that, that's a proper nice classic clay pit common that. Everything's cooling off a little bit. The fish are starting to munch, they're going a little bit deeper water, so like you're catching on your short lines, in the edge later. And that's when the fishing can get really exciting, when you can... That guy down there's caught a mussel. The fishing can get frantic on that short line when them carp come in. You can see obviously that fish before is probably £5 or £6. This one's going to be the same, like peas in a pod. Classic clay pit carp. It might be a little bit bigger actually, but you've got to have your setup correct. You can't just think, oh, I'll just fish 013 because I'm getting away with it at the minute. But sometimes you hook these fish and they go absolutely nuts and they just go straight down the depth. They've got the depth to do it, swim out and they just bottom you out and break you. Oh, it's another mirror actually. Because the water's so clear, every time they see you land the net, they're gone. That's why I just like this 15 holler, just got a bit of beef about it. You can get them fish up, that's it. There's another fully scaled. Mirror that one. Here it is. Lovely. So you wanted that right in the side of the chops. And hold him up. But as you can see, dead simple approach. Not going to talk about and try and confuse it too much. I just feel like it's important to have the setup right. Make sure you're feeding little and often. You can obviously up your feed. You can lower your feed if you need to, depending on how many fish are in your peg. But it's just about being aware that there's some good ways of fishing to be had as well. If you get your little tactics right. Now don't get me wrong, you might be able to catch on maggots and casters there, but I just feel like if you're in that festival or you were trying to catch and you feel like the fish are sick of pellets, which they can do at this time of year, they feel like they like soft baits or they like grubbing around on different things of like hemp, corn, casters, maggots. Now up and down the country, dead maggots is really good at the minute. Now that's no coincidence that like maybe the fish have just had enough of pellets, they've ate them all summer and now they're looking for something a bit different. Like meat can be really good at places which allow it. So it's just about making sure you're getting on the right bait, a little combo. You don't need to feed much, a few bits of hemp, a few bits of corn. And what you find is because you obviously got a piece of corn, it's quite heavy hook bait. Indications and bites you get are going to be like a fly under. Last thing you want is to start striking it like silly indications and stuff, because what you find is F1s do eat hemp and corn, but they're not as aggressive as carp when they start eating it. So what you might find is there might be some F1s in your peg that are a bit reluctant to eat it, as where carp just come in and I reckon just hoover the lot up. So that's where you get your positive indications and your bites off them. So just little and often. Looking for that nice sharp indication. Now if you feel like maybe that's a little bit too far where I'm fishing now, don't be scared, you could always come back to like a top kit. Just because just slows the amount of fish in your peg coming down, like I can't speak, the amount of fish in your peg. Sometimes people are a bit reluctant to come towards the self, but when you've got keep nets in, the fish, what you'll find is just slows the amount of fish in your peg down. So say if you can get 20 fish at 5 metres, you might only get 6 or 7 at like a top kit, but that's enough just to get a clean response and bite off them. As where, if you go around now, if I carry on there, I just feel like I'm just going to get lined to death if I carried on fishing there. I'm going to start foul looking more fish, and it's going to make them hard to catch. As where if I come a bit closer, start a new line, it's a bit of clean bottom, nothing there. One thing you have got is got like your oils and your bits and bobs on your hemp that come off, and I just feel like that just attracts fish into your peg. There's another one now. That just attracts fish into your peg. I feel like it's an F1 or something. Yeah, it's not fighting like a carp. I think it's a little F1, so. There you go. So I'm going to end on that because I'm going to catch a few more fish before the light goes. But if you're on the Natural Baits Festival, you just feel like you need a different combo for your short line, then don't ignore hemp and corn. Use what I've taught you today, get your setup right, little and often, you can catch great fish like this one. So I'm going to get the hook out of him, slip him back, but thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment below, all that stuff, and I'll see you on the next one.